How did you find the draw? And I just saw Caleb Sarong vomited 6 times in between stoppages. That actually blew my mind. I mean, how taxing was the game?
Yeah, I actually saw one of those, I think with about a minute to go. I wasn't sure whether to go into the stoppage and help him out, but it was impressive for him to fight it out. Draw, it's a weird result. I'm actually not sure if I played in a draw before, but the way the game sort of fluctuated with momentum, clearly we were down by 4 or so goals at the end, so it was a good fight to come back and take 2 points is better than 0. But we're pretty disappointed with not bringing our consistent footy over the 4 quarters. We let them get a good run on in the 3rd quarter. I think we've been pretty good this year with stemming teams' momentum, and we know Collingwood's a good momentum team. We just let them get too much scoreboard pressure on, and it gave us a big deficit to come back at the end.
Do you think it showed maturity in the group that you were down by so much and you still managed to come back and secure a draw?
Yeah, I think it shows maturity. We've been working on our game situation, circumstances of training, so whether it's win the game or finish it, whether we've got a lead or coming from behind, and how we change our ball movement and how we want to defend, and able to execute that is really pleasing and it's on a good maturity. But I also think just our fight and I think our fitness is strong. We've got good legs in the 4th quarter. I think we're a pretty good 4th quarter team this year, so those aspects are definitely pleasing.
Being a good 4th quarter team, would that make you a good overtime team? Like, would overtime just be that little bit too far?
I don't know. We'll have to wait and see if it ever happens. But look, I wouldn't be against it. I love playing footy and I love to be out there for longer and get a proper result. But that's not for me to say.
You got thrown in the middle late. We haven't seen that since last season. How did you find getting back in there, and what's been the reasons for not being able to necessarily go in, whether it was because of concussion or fitness or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, I love getting in there, but I think it's been a result of our midfield actually doing quite well this year. I think overall for the season, our clearance work and contested possession in there has been really strong, and we've got a good depth of midfield. Unfortunately, guys missing out on spots in the team, so it's meant that I played a little bit more forward, also with Lockie leaving last year and a few other sort of roles down there. It's been more important for me to be down forward, but I think certain points in different games it can be important to change it up, and there was a good opportunity on the weekend just to bring a bit more energy to the middle and try and change the game.
So you give it it's a different look when you're in there. Obviously you bring different skills to what the other midfielders have. Why do you think the coach likes throwing you in there at different points and not others?
I've probably got a bit of work to do on my tank to be able to play 4 quarters there. But I do like the centre square bounce stuff. I think that plays to my strengths with a bit of speed. So I often try and get in there a little bit and then push forward. It's hard for me to do the bash and crash stuff all game. But like I said, our midfielders are doing quite a good job this year. So if they keep holding up their end, I'll just keep focusing on my forward craft and try and put some scores on the board.
Kane Gordon was critical of Nat's inability to spread from stoppage, and saying that's the midfield sort of misses that. What are your thoughts when you hear those sorts of comments about him?
Yeah, I mean, every player's got strengths and weaknesses, right? Like, as I just spoke about, my strength is bringing speed to the contest. We know Nat is so good with the bash and crash stuff, as I said, and his contested work's been really strong all year. And I think his form has been building over the course of the year as well, and I don't really expect that sort of form to go completely linear and just him to keep dominating every week. So, I completely back him in. I think it's easy just to point out a few clips. We see the work that he's doing behind the scenes at training and in the stoppage when he's blocking for his teammates and putting his head over the footy, and I want him to keep focusing on his strengths out there.
Speaking of strengths, tell us where you think Luke Jackson would you like him down the forward line with you, or do you like him in the middle there?
When we have a full healthy team, I love having Luke down the forward line and Sean in the ruck. I think it's a really dangerous combination. Again, I know there's a lot of commentary about it, and it's very easy to put some statistics up when Sean's not playing just to show that Luke's had more, hit-outs and clearances and touches, but it's a completely different role. It doesn't mean it's any less important. He gives us a lot of flexibility down in the forward line, and it also means if he's forward and playing second ruck, that he's coming up against the second ruck of the opposition that probably hasn't trained as much in the ruck. So it gives us a really good look there and potentially gets us some dominance. So those two also haven't played a lot of footy together still as well, and they're very young. Luke's coming into our system and he's still learning that, and Sean's trying to get continuity with his footy. So I'm pretty excited to have them both in the team, and Luke playing a lot of football forward.
And no greater challenge this weekend against Max Vaughan, right? For both of them.
Yeah, one of the best rucks in the league, so it'll be an exciting challenge for them.
Alice Springs is a unique venue. It's very open. Conditions can create havoc. How do you prepare for a game like that?
Yeah, we'll do our due diligence. I think tomorrow we're going to go over the sort of the aspects of the ground and where we'll be staying when we fly over, and a bit about our trip. Outside of that, the trip will be much the same as what we normally do in terms of the time we fly and what we sort of get up to in our routine. But I'm assuming most of the guys haven't played there before. I've never been to Alice Springs before, so it'll be a new experience, but one that we're embracing and excited to get over there and hopefully get the 4 points.
You've been so good in Melbourne the past year and a bit, really. So to not play the game there and go to Alice, do you see it as an advantage that you are not playing on their home ground, or do you see it as a disadvantage that you've never been there before and don't know what to expect?
Neither really. I don't think it's a disadvantage. I'm just pretty excited to go and play at a different ground. It doesn't really matter where we play. I do love playing in Melbourne. Whatever the reason was for putting the game at Alice Springs with this particular schedule, who knows? But I think we're all pretty excited to get to Alice Springs, and it's a new challenge and a chance to get 4 points, as I said.
Sam, can you tell us a bit about Wharfie time? That's those at the ground saw the sign come up on the screen. Can you tell us what that's all about?
I actually can't really tell you a lot about it, and I didn't actually see it on the screen. I got asked about it after the game, and it sounded like it was something that got the crowd up and about. I think it was an attempt to bring us home and get some momentum going. So it's something that a lot of people seem to relate to and click with. But yeah, I can't give you a hell of a lot about it.
Would Alex doing the W have nothing to do with that then?
I'm not sure. You'd have to ask him. Yeah, I don't know.
As a group of small forwards so far this season, how do you feel like you're collectively going? Because we know a big part of what you guys bring up there is pressure, but what about in terms of scoreboard impact? How do you feel you guys are faring?
Yeah, again, our mix has changed slightly from last year. We're trying to get some continuity with the guys in there. I think everyone's committing to their role really well, and although I know we've had a couple of weeks of inaccuracy and our scoring might not line up with some of the best teams, but the scoring opportunities we're getting are really good, and that's a good place to start. So I think that sort of part of the game's in good order. We just need to execute a little bit better, but I'm pretty confident over time that stuff will improve, and guys will build some belief. And the more experience we get into some of our younger small forwards like Tommy Emmett, and whenever Sam Sturt gets his chance, Cooper Simpson comes back in, it'd be great for them. But happy.
And Jai, set the world alight last season. What he was able to do is obviously he copped a bit more attention this year as a result. Do you back him in to get back to the level he was at last year, or does there come a point for young key forwards where they need a bit of confidence through the state league?
I absolutely back him in. I wouldn't necessarily say that he's gone backwards in any sense from last season. It's, as you say, he's had some more attention, which is a credit to him because he's obviously a high performer. He's missed a few shots he'd normally kick over the last few weeks, but I think every forward goes through that at some point in their career, whether you're young or an older player. I think everyone definitely goes through it, and we even showed on the weekend as a team. We had a couple of weeks of inaccuracy, but the weekend was pretty good for most guys. So I've seen him kick so accurately for so long, so I've full trust that he'll get back to his best.
Obviously we're nearing that kind of halfway point, and obviously the bye as well. How's your body personally feeling?
My body's feeling really good. I missed a few weeks with concussion, which was unfortunate, but actually meant that I freshened up my body. I was able to get some... it's a weird thing with the concussion. You can get some solid training in running-wise and aerobically. So I was able to stay fit, look after my body, but I just wasn't getting those knocks. So I'm in a really good space. I can't speak for everyone, but the bye's obviously coming around, but we'll be focusing on Melbourne this week, and then we'll deal with the bye when it comes.
Are you concerned that you weren't able to tick that final box to play when that concussion battle was happening, and that there was just something constantly hanging around that you necessarily wouldn't have experienced before?
It's a difficult process when there's a lot of unknowns and you just don't know when your symptoms might subside. So it took a little bit longer to recover than what it has in the past for me with concussion, but I think we made the right call, and I've been really pleased with our medical team that we took a bit of a conservative approach, and they trusted in me to just kind of make the call on what I was feeling, and at the same time trusting them to make the decision for my best, for my welfare. So it gets slightly concerning when there's uncertainty, but I've come out the other side and I'm feeling really good now. So,
What were you feeling? In terms of
what sort of symptoms?
Yeah.
A little bit hard to describe, just like headaches, irritability to things. It would come on after exercise, certain types of exercise, more so high intensity stuff. but again, it's everyone seems to respond quite differently to concussion and have different sort of symptoms. But mine was sort of that more constant mild headaches and things like that.
Do you get worried the more, like if you have had a concussion and then you get another one, the more you have them, do you get more anxious, I guess, that it will happen again?
I think so. Like it's not going to lie. It's, as I said, there's uncertainty, and footy, like I think the AFL does a great job at bringing in rules to protect players' heads, and they're doing as much as they can, but you can't avoid certain accidents, and there's a bit of just cross your fingers and hope that you don't get too many knocks. And but I think the main thing is, if anything ever happens, just to look after yourself properly, put your hand up if something has occurred, and get yourself off and put yourself in a safe space. And I think the whole industry's come a long way with respecting it and putting as much resources as they can to learn as much as they can about it and have the safety of the players first.
Number one, was that for you? How many have you had?
I couldn't tell you exactly, but I had a lot when I was playing junior sport. So I think I've had two maybe since I've been at Freo, but a few more at a younger age.
A win this week could be enough to nudge you up into the 8. Does that kind of add a bit of buzz around the group at all? You know, that there is that chance to be in the 8.
Look, week to week, we don't really look at the ladder too much. I think if you get caught up in that, it's just a bit of a distraction. It's pretty even at the moment in the competition. I think there's only a win or two between maybe 9th, 10th and 3rd or something like that. So the order's going to change a fair bit, but I think mostly we're looking at Melbourne as a great opportunity to beat a quality side. They're playing some good footy at the moment, so that'll be our focus, and the ladder will look after itself.
It's been spoken about a little bit since Friday night, but your handball game, and obviously it's a really important part of what you guys want to do on the field, but as a forward, what's that sort of balance between sometimes just wanting them to keep the ball to you and let you guys get to work?
Yeah, I think as you said, it's clearly a balance, and it's quite hard to coach because you want players to play to their instinct a bit, and I think in some of our good wins we've handballed a lot, and it's been really effective for us. I think where we sort of break down is if we're not taking ground with our handballs, if we're sort of handballing to someone that's under more pressure or going backwards, opposition teams' pressure's too good for you to get through them. So, I think on the weekend we potentially overused it a little bit in parts of the game, and because our contest head of the ball was actually quite good for a large part of the game as well. So that's just, as we go, we get a feel during the game for how we're using it and try and make adjustments on the go. Probably could have adjusted a little bit better on the weekend to trust the contest a little bit more and kick a little bit more.